Okay, so this question on discriminants says draw a sketch of any quadratic curve that is positive for all values of x. So if I have a graph, any graph, okay, it's positive for all values of x, meaning that its y values are always positive. Okay, so anything like that or like this, okay, where it's always in the positives. What are the roots of this graph? Considering we're talking about discriminants, what roots does this graph have? Well, it doesn't actually cross the x-axis, so it has imaginary roots. Okay, so imaginary roots. Okay, so just considering we're talking about the discriminant, so the part that's underneath the square root of the minus b formula, so my b squared minus 4ac. Okay, here, because it's imaginary roots, my b squared minus 4ac would be less than 0. Okay, because we're talking about discriminants, that's what our discriminant would show. So part 2 says, given that 3x squared minus kx plus 12 is positive for all values of x, find the range of possible values for k. So here it said that it's positive for all values of x, find the range of possible values for k. So the positive for all values of x, they actually hinted to it in part 1 here. Okay, it's that it has imaginary roots. So that means that b squared minus 4ac has to be less than 0. Okay, how do we fill in b and a and c? We use them from the equation that we had. So a is what's in front of the x squared, so 3. B is the coefficient of the x, so minus k. And c is the constant at the end, so 12. Okay, so I might know how I'm going to get to my final answer, but I know that my discriminant is less than 0 because they said it's positive for all values of x. And I know, once I write this out, I know how to fill in a, b and c. So I'm just going to fill in a, b and c. So b is going to be minus k, and that has to be squared, minus 4 times a is 3, and c is 12. Okay, so what does k have to be for that to be less than 0 is what we're going to be looking at. Okay, so let's simplify this. So minus k squared is k squared. Sorry, 1 sec. There we go. Okay, so, sorry, this is in here somewhere. Here. Okay, so, yeah, so minus, what did I just do? Okay, so minus k to be squared is just a k squared, because a minus times a minus is a plus. So I just have k squared. Okay, then I have minus 12 by 12, so minus 144. And that is, I'm trying to find where is that less than 0. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what values squared are going to give me stuff less than 0. Okay, this here is a difference of 2 squares. So if I'm going to try and solve this, okay, I notice it's a difference of 2 squares, and this is something we'll get more used to when we do inequalities, okay, but I have a k squared minus a 12 squared, okay. At this point, you can probably visualize in your head all the different values that k can be squared to be less than 12 squared. Okay, so if k was 1 or 0 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 5.5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 or 11.5 or 11.9, any of those numbers squared, take away 12 squared, is going to be a number less than 0. Okay, so I can see there that k just has to be a number less than 12. What about if k was something like minus 2? That would still also work out, okay? So if it was minus 2 squared, that's just 4. So 4 minus 144 is still minus 140. Okay, but if I was to have something here like minus 13, okay, well, minus 13 squared, just as an example, so this isn't the correct thing to do, but minus 13 squared, that's the same as 13 squared. So 169 minus 12 squared is less than 0. So it can't be any minuses, negatives that are beyond minus 12. Okay, so k actually just has to be between minus 12 and 12. Okay, it can be anything from minus 11.9999. So anything from minus 12, but excluding 12. So instead of just greater than and equal to, I'll just do the greater than by itself. Okay, if I said or equal to, then that would include minus 12. I want to include everything up till minus 12, but not include minus 12 itself. And likewise, up until the number 12. So k is anything between minus 12 and 12.